Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Recaps. So, 2021 is over. Well, it's been over for like 4 days, but still, it is gone. It's in the rearview mirror. We don't have to think about it ever again. But the last month of 2021 was quite the chaotic one, to say the least, when it came to the movies. And especially with my predictions, because honestly, I don't know how true this is, but this may be the worst month I've ever covered when it comes to my how accurate my predictions were, because I was off on pretty much every movie. Like, I may have been right on some areas, but for the most part, it was just a disaster for me. So, yeah. Now, obviously, I could literally spend this entire video talking about one specific movie, but I'm not gonna do that. Other movies came out. I mean, judging by the box office, it seems like only one movie really existed, but I'm gonna cover all of them and just see how inaccurate I was. I'm not even gonna say accurate, I'm gonna say inaccurate because, oh man. So let's begin. So we can skip the first weekend of December. Nothing came out. I know, like, this Christmas of the Chosen, that was like a special event. That doesn't count. Neither does Sword or Online. I didn't even know that was wide. So we can skip those. The real movies didn't start coming out until the 10th. Okay, let's national champions. Oof. Okay, with this, my expectations were just through the floor already with this movie. I think I said 1 to 2 million opening weekend and like 5 million total, something like that. Turns out that was way too generous, because it didn't even make 5 million. It didn't even make a million. It didn't even make half a million. It made around $475,000 total. Like, God. This may be one of the worst performing movies I've covered ever. And this was like a wide release too, like over 1,000 theaters. So this is just horrendous. Now, it's easy to explain why this happened. Nobody knew this movie existed. It literally popped on the schedule and just started getting like marketing like mere like 2-ish weeks before it was gonna come out. So like, what did you expect? Like, what did you expect? Like, so yeah, I'm not surprised, but wow, it did so much worse than I thought. So yeah, what else is there to say? But this movie's an utter catastrophe. It's not the only catastrophe, but it's certainly the worst when it comes to actual dollar amounts. But we got another catastrophe to talk about that came out the same weekend. West Side Story. Oof. Now, with this movie, there's one thing I got right with my prediction. It was opening weekend. I said it would be in the realm between 10 to 15, somewhere in that range. And lo and behold, it hit right above 10. But even at that time, many people automatically labeled it as a flop. But I was willing to give it a chance. I was willing to give it a benefit of a doubt and say it could have legs. You don't know. December can be very weird. So it might have some chance to not completely embarrass itself. But all that optimism died in week two, because it fell 65% second weekend. And that pretty much killed any chance of good legs or momentum or anything. I mean, sure, it had decent holds after that, but who cares? The damage was done. It didn't even matter. So, yeah, it's only made 29 million, a little over 29 million so far, 47 million worldwide. I thought it would make between 50 to 60 million total. That clearly didn't happen. And that's on a budget of 100 million. So this movie's a financial bomb. It's a hard bomb, too. Now, why did this happen? There are several reasons why. You know, a lot of people just label this as a remake that didn't need to exist. Some say, oh, the older audiences couldn't show up because they haven't shown up all year, so I guess that's a fair point. There's that. I One of my theories is the fact that everyone was waiting to watch the one movie coming out that month, and so they were just gonna wait for that and not watch anything else. And I feel like that's partially the blame here. And uh yeah, there's other reasons, both like the main reasons that I think this movie did so poorly. And it kind of makes you think, is the movie musical dead? Is it dead? I think it might be, because we've had 3 in 2021, we had In the Heights, we had Dear Evan Hansen, and we had West Side Story, all bombed one after another. West Side Story, I mean, domestically, it's technically doing the best, but is that really is that really is that really a compliment? Because it's not. Like, it's about as actually it's a bigger bomb than the other two because this had a much higher budget. So yeah, like yeah, this movie's a complete fail on every level financially, and yeah, that's all I got to say about it. So, but it's not even the worst bomb of the month when it comes to both gross and budget. It's not the worst. We have yet to get to the worst, but it's up there. So, yeah, that was December 10th. Nothing much happened. But the 17th, this is where things get interesting. But first, we got to talk about Nightmare Alley here, which also completely bombed in my predictions and financially. Now, my prediction, I said it opened between 3 to 5 million, I think, and it opened a little under that, like 2.8. So that's not great. But then I thought, oh, because this is so close to Christmas and New Year's and might get those sweet holiday legs and leg out to like 20 to 30 million or something like that. No, no, that didn't happen at all. It's only made 7.5 million total, which is just non-existent. I mean, granted, Nightmare, no, not National Champions was truly non-existent, but this wasn't much better. And yeah, there's nothing positive I can say about this. I mean, sure, I know it has like a good reviews and good reaction, but that didn't matter. This movie made the very foolish decision to open on the same day as the big movie. Okay, what did they think was gonna happen? Like, come on. Like, use your brain. Like, this movie would have benefited coming out like on the 10th, not the 17th. Like, against the big movie. Like this is just like an asinine decision, and it blew up in their face. And yeah, like yeah, sorry Guillermo del Toro, but your movie tanked, dude. I'm sorry. I mean, I love your work, but yeah, it bombed hard because of just foolish scheduling and the fact that adult movies have just done just horrendous this year. Same goes for Spielberg. You both screwed up hard with your movies. But now, time to talk about the big movie. I'm, of course, talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Where do I even... How... How do I even start? I don't even know. I'm gonna try. So, Spider-Man No Way Home. Everyone on planet Earth knew this movie would be big. They knew it would be a big deal. They knew it would be the biggest movie of the month, biggest movie of the whole year, past 2 years. Everyone knew this. That was not a surprise. Okay. What was a surprise is just how big the movie ended up being. Now, my original prediction, I said it opened with, I don't know, like 160. That was me being, I thought I was being optimistic then, right? I thought it would at least do better than Spider-Man 3 opening weekend. That's what I thought. And it would make like around 500 to 600 million total. That's what I thought. Well, it did quite a bit better than that. It beat my prediction by 100 million. It made open with 260 million opening weekend, second biggest ever, only behind Endgame. In fact, it set several records this opening weekend. Had the biggest, second biggest previews ever, second biggest opening day ever, and second biggest opening weekend ever. And I was my jaw was just dropped to the floor. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and now it's already sped past 600 million after like 3 weeks. I mean, sure, it had a bit of a rough Christmas, but it bounced back over New Year's. So I have its Monday gross right here. So it's up to 621 million right now. It will soon surpass the original Spider-Man when it comes to ticket sales, which I'm going to show you here because this is just raw gross. It's number 9 of all time in raw gross. It will soon beat the first Avengers. It's already beaten Last Jedi. It will soon speed past Jurassic World, Titanic, Avengers Infinity War. Will probably be around. I don't know if it'll beat Avatar. That might be a bit too ambitious, but it should at least be number 4. Number 4 is where I see it beating Black Panther. That should definitely happen at its current rate. And when it comes to inflation, it's also looking very good because it's very close to being the original Spider-Man. Like in terms of like ticket sales and its inflation, it's at 636 million, and Spider-Man No Way Home is it's gonna take just a few days to beat that. So it will be the biggest Spider-Man movie ever when it comes to raw dollars, ticket sales, inflation, everything. So that is beyond remarkable. And total will probably be I don't think it's gonna reach the top 10, but it'll be a little under that. So yeah, like goddamn. Oh man, like it's unbelievable. And overseas, it's already made like 759 million, so it's made almost 1.4 billion in just 3 weeks, which is nuts cuz you know, over the past 2 years, the box office has been relatively dismal. I mean, sure we've had like a big hit every once in a while, but we've never had that ultra blockbuster. Like the last ultra blockbuster we really had was Rise of Skywalker, which, funny enough, came out a good 2 years, almost 2 years exactly to this, 2 years before this, and yeah, this just sped past that like no big deal, and it's just crazy, like especially with like all this news about like the Omicron variant going around, and cases like spiking like significantly. It seems like when it comes to Spider-Man, nobody cares. This is the one movie that everyone will see with COVID, and they don't give a damn about COVID or anything. They want to see this movie by pretty much any means necessary, and that's what they did. I mean, I know that's what I did. I saw this Thursday, like that opening Thursday night previews. That was a wild ride. I'm not going to say anything about spoilers, but that was probably one of the best movie theater experiences I've ever had. Probably top 5, maybe top 3. And when it comes to, you know, where it is in terms of like the Spider-Man movies, I think it's right up there with the first 2 Sam Raimi ones. And when it comes to the MCU, it may be tied with my favorite MCU movie. The only one that's about as good as Infinity War, in my opinion. And when it comes to like the year, I think this was my number 1 movie of the year from what I've seen. I thought it was great. I thought it pretty much nailed everything. I mean, I was a little worried about the term people are using now is nostalgia bait, but I think this movie handled it extremely well. It handled it in a way that wasn't cheap, it wasn't disrespectful. It was so satisfying. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. I mean, you can all probably guess what happens, but once you see it, like you're going to have like the biggest grin on your face, which is what I had. So yeah, this was like the movie. It felt almost like the movie of a lifetime in a way. But and I'm glad it's doing really well. It deserves it. It really does. And this proves without a shadow of a doubt that the movie theater business isn't dead. Theatrical business isn't dead. Like, if you make the right movie, people will show up in high numbers. And that's exactly what happened here. So, Spider-Man No Way Home, you are the big winner of the month, 2021, 2020. You are the biggest winner since Endgame. So, congratulations. You deserve it. So, yeah, that happened. That was a big, big deal, humongous moment that happened December 17th, that whole weekend. And like the rest of the year, it was all about Spider-Man and like nothing else. And even now, it's still all about Spider-Man. And it's going to continue that way until February at least. So, yeah. And it's that total's going to keep on growing. And just, yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. But it couldn't have happened to a better. It couldn't have happened to a better movie. So, yeah, I'm really happy about that. But after that, oof. The Christmas movies. Six entered the ring. Well, technically seven, but we don't know the gross for that, so we can scratch that off. Six entered the ring against the monster that was No Way Home. One survived. The rest died. They died brutal deaths. So let's look at the graveyard, shall we? Let's first start with The King's Man. Oof. All right. Now this movie, expectations weren't high at all. They especially weren't high once everyone found out the numbers of No Way Home. Its chances of success plummeted dramatically. Yeah, and the fact that it's been delayed, it was delayed like for a good 2 years constantly, didn't help anything. Well, my prediction, I predicted it would open between at least like 15 to 20 million, I think, for the 5-day weekend, because it opened on a Wednesday. And I thought it would make at least 50 to 60 total. Like, I was like, it's not going to do great, but it'll at least do something. Well, that didn't happen at all. In fact, it did way, way worse. Like that Wednesday, it only opened with like 2 million, and I was just like, oh my god, what's happening? And then it fell off further. Thursday, and I was like, oh no. And then it made less than 10 million for the 5-day weekend, like less than six for um the weekend. Granted, Christmas Eve had a lot to, Christmas Eve. I'll just show you what Christmas Eve looked like. It was a bloodbath. Look at No Way Home's second Friday. It is one of the worst in history. 84%. Like, that is horrendous. Granted, it was only a temporary setback, but still. But yeah, everything else, you see 30%, 34%. The Kingsman actually had one of the better holds that day. But it didn't matter. The movie was already a bomb. A big bomb at that. So, really, who cares at that point? Like, the writing was already on the wall with its Wednesday and Thursday launch. But granted, after that, its legs, it's had decent enough legs. It's made 19 million total. But again, it doesn't matter. It's game over. I mean, compared to the other Kingsmen's, it is just... Oh, let's look at the other Kingsmen, shall we? Like, Kingsman, the first one, opened with 36 million, made 128 million domestic. Second one, Golden Circle, opened with 39 million, made 100 million. This movie, it won't even match the opening weekends of its two predecessors. That there's nothing positive you can say about this movie's run. And I knew when they were talking about Kingsman 3 instead of the Kingsman, I knew this movie was screwed, because what they were trying to do was get all the attention on Kingsman 3, get people excited for that, because they knew without a shadow of a doubt this movie was going to tank. So they were like, let's not talk about The King's Man, and let's talk about Kingsman 3. I knew it. I saw it. I saw right through that strategy. And what do you know? The movie just did horrendous. And yeah, it's also just another well, formerly Fox movie, now 20th Century Studios movie that just bombed. There's another one. The same goes for West Side Story. Like the only one that's done well at all this year was Free Guy. That's it. The rest did horrendous. So yeah, nothing more to say. This movie's a bomb, hard bomb. But it's not even the worst bomb of the month. No, no. That goes to the movie that came out the same day as this. The Matrix Resurrections. Oh boy. The last HBO Max experiment movie, and judging by its box office, I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers is very, very happy about that. Like that experiment couldn't have it ended not a moment too soon. Because Jesus. Now, my prediction, I was way too optimistic. I said I was like, "Oh, it might be one of like before December happened, my thought process was, okay, there's going to be 3 big movies coming out. The big 3 were No Way Home, obviously, Sing 2 and Matrix Resurrections. That's what I thought. And with my prediction, I thought it had a chance to be one of the bigger, if not the biggest, HBO Max movie, you know, of 2021. I mean, it had brand name recognition, had a lot of, attention with that first trailer. I thought it would do, I didn't think it would do amazing, but I thought it would at least make something. No, I couldn't have been any more wrong. I thought it would open between like, I don't know, 40 million or something for like the 40 to 50 million. I think it was closer to 40 with the 5-day prediction, and it would make like 20 something million, like 25-ish million for the 3-day. No. It opened with 6 million for Wednesday, and I was like, okay, that's not great. And then it fell off the next day, then the next day, then had a boost on Christmas, and it fell off again. It only opened with like 22 million for the 5-day weekend. I was just like, oh my god, this is not going well. And then it continued to plummet. Its legs have just been horrendous. It's continuing to plummet. And then second weekend, it fell 64%. So it's only made 30 million total. I mean, should we even compare it to the other Matrix movies? I mean, it feels kind of mean, but I kind of have to. Yeah, just look at that. Look at that. Matrix, 1999, 173 million. Reloaded, 2003, 281 million. Revolutions, 2003, 139 million. This, it's so far below those. It's insane. This has to be one of the worst sequel declines ever in history. And overseas, it's not looking much better. It's only made 100 million worldwide so far. And although the numbers doesn't show the budget for this movie, I found out the actual budget. It was $190 million. 190. This movie won't even make that much. That's like, oh, like it's apparently supposed to look like $150 million. So, God. And actually, let's look at the HBO Max experiment. And just look at it one last time to see. Well, not. I'll probably talk about it again with the 2021 recap, but let's look at it again, just for further clarity, just to see just how bad things really are. Okay, at 2021, I gotta go to, yes, Warner Brothers. Here we are. Okay, so here's how it looked, including Wonder Woman, because that was 2020. That started this whole thing. So Wonder Woman, that made like 47, I think 48, 46, yeah, 46 million. Okay. And then if we look at this list, actually, darn it, I wanted to change it for a release date, but you know what? This is fun. Dune, 107 million. Godzilla vs. Kong, 100 million. Space Jam: A New Legacy, 70. Conjuring 3, 65. The Suicide Squad, 55. Tom and Jerry 46, Mortal Kombat 42, Matrix Resurrections 30, In the Heights 29, Wonder Woman 1984 was like 46, including its 2020 gross. The Little Things 15, King Richard 14, Malignant 13, Cry Macho 10, May Saints of Newark 8, Those Who Wish Me Dead 7, Judas and the Black Messiah 5, and Reminiscence 3. Okay, well, it's currently in the middle. I don't see it surpassing Mortal Kombat at its current rate. I don't see that happening. So, yeah, like it's a complete disaster. And what made it even worse is that what made it worse besides the whole this movie had several things going against it. Uh Dealing with Spider-Man No Way Home, dealing with HBO Max, and the fact that the movie really wasn't that good. I saw it in theaters for, I guess, because I thought it would be a better experience. It wasn't good. I don't think it was. I think the whole movie just felt like a bad in joke with how they like they openly like they tried to be like meta. They thought they were being like really clever about it. And it just didn't work for me. It gave me the same vibes as Space Jam 2, and that's never a good thing. With even how they directly mention Warner Brothers in both movies. And I was just like, what am I watching? And yeah, it wasn't good. And I'm not surprised people didn't flock to see it. I'm really not. So, but you know what the good news is? Dune was the biggest movie of 2021, at least domestically, for Warner Brothers. I think Godzilla vs. Kong was the biggest worldwide, but still, Dune, you did it. You did it. You were the number one for Warner Brothers. So I'm glad that happened. I really am. And that's only going to make its sequel. It's only going to make the sequel look even better because Dune was Warner Brothers' biggest movie of 2021. So that makes the sequel just look a tad bit better now. But Matrix Resurrections, that's never getting a sequel. That's never going to happen. They even said it wasn't going to get a sequel. So yeah, that franchise is dead. And many would argue it should have stayed dead. They shouldn't have made a fourth movie. And yeah, I would agree. I mean, maybe The Matrix is just one of those movies to where they just shouldn't have made sequels at all. They shouldn't have even bothered making sequels because they were never going to match the magic of the original. It's like Terminator. Well, actually, Terminator had two good movies and the rest just fell off. Or maybe like Aliens. Well, again, Aliens had two good movies and then it fell off. Um, yeah, they should have just stuck with the original and not done any more. Maybe. So, yeah, this whole movie was a mistake, and judging by the box office, it clearly shows it was a mistake. So, yeah, that's the end of Matrix 4. Good riddance. Now, the last movie that came out that Wednesday that actually did good was Sing 2. Now, my prediction, I said it would open around the same level as Matrix Resurrections. Well, that's what I thought at the time. I thought it would open between like 40 million for the 5 days, like 25 million for like 3. And it got very close. It didn't quite reach it, but it got close. It did 37 million for the 5-day weekend, which looks like a godsend. It looks mind-blowing in comparison to Matrix 4 and The Kingsman. So yeah, it did that. It had good weekdays over, Christmas and post-Christmas. And it's now made 90 million right so far. Granted, with my official prediction, I thought it would make like 180. I thought, I'm losing my words. Like, I thought its Christmas weekdays would be a lot stronger, like its predecessor. Its predecessor had some monster weekdays. We're talking weekdays of like 19, 17, 15 million. Those are the type of weekdays that only are reserved for big, big blockbusters. And this only made like 7 throughout the whole week, which is still pretty good. But Yeah, it didn't live up to my bullish expectations. But at the very least, although it won't match its predecessor at all, it should at least make half as much. So at least they'll do slightly better than Secret Life of Pets 2. That made like less than half. So this will at least retain more of its predecessor than that movie. And not only that, it'll be the first family movie of 2021 to make 100 million domestic. The first PG movie to make 100 million domestic. In fact, I think it'll soon, very soon, be the biggest PG movie of the year. So, yay! Like, this proves that the family audience isn't 100% dead. It's just mostly dead or halfway dead. All right. So this proves that families are willing to show up. And this was during like the whole, like when Omicron variant was starting to get out of control, and families still went to see this in somewhat big numbers. So I think that's a positive. I think that means, family movies can still make some money. So yeah, I think that's good. And with Sing 2, I mean, I never wanted to watch it, but and honestly, I guess with the whole Illumination hate thing, maybe that's just an online thing and not like a real world thing. But yeah, like I mean, I never wanted to see it, but it seemed like the people who did see it really, really enjoyed it. So I'm glad they had a good time. And apparently, from what I've heard, it's like it's not the worst type of kids movie. So yeah, I can't be too mad at this. I mean, I'm not really mad at this at all because it actually does more uh, good for the movie theater business than bad. So, yeah, Sing 2, congratulations. You were the only Christmas movie not to utterly tank. Well, besides Spider Man. Like, this month, there were only two winners No Way Home and Sing 2. That's it. And I thought they would be one of the only two winners anyway. So I was somewhat right, although I was way wrong with Matrix. So yeah, that happened. So yeah, that was 22nd. Now our last group of movies that came out the 25th, Christmas Day, on a Saturday. Why? I that still comes off as weird to me. But three came out, and first we're going to talk about American Underdog. Now, in my prediction video, I said it had a chance to be a sleeper, had a chance to be an unforeseen hit. All right. I thought it would open with like 8 million for like the 2 days it was going to open and make like 30 to 40 million total, like do pretty okay. Well, that hasn't really come true. Like Saturday, it opened pretty okay with like 4 million. I was like, all right, okay, this might build some momentum. And then it just plummeted Sunday 60%, which is not good. Actually, with some of these movies, like, with the exception of like the Christmas movies that came out directly on Christmas, they had good holds. Spider-Man Sing 2 went up that day. This didn't. This just crashed and burned in comparison. And then over the week, it did fine. And then like the second week, it felt like 33%, which isn't the greatest for like a post. Like it's not like the best hold of the week. I mean, it's certainly better than Matrix, but yeah, that's still not great, especially for a movie that had such supposedly like really good word of mouth. And I don't know if that maybe they all showed up Christmas Day and then they all just abandoned the movie because that happens sometimes. A movie can do really well on Christmas Day and then that's it. And then it doesn't do well after that. Like that's happened quite a few times actually. And I guess this is just another example of that. It's only made less than 15 million so far, which is not good in my eyes. So, yeah, that's pretty disappointing. I mean, granted, expectations were high for this movie anyway, so it doesn't look as bad as, say, a West Side Story or Matrix or Kingsman. All right. It's not as bad as those, but yeah, it's still pretty underwhelming. And I guess this kind of proves that I don't know. I guess the adult audience. Well, this was aimed a bit more towards families, but I guess they all decided to see talking animals singing than this, which can't say I blame them too much. But yeah, this was pretty underwhelming. but it wasn't even the worst performer of that day. Nope. We have another one, a journal for Jordan. I was very stupid with my prediction in hindsight because I thought it would open not great, but somewhat okay. I think it was like 6 to 7 million for like the 2 day weekend and make like 30ish million total. Oh boy. I was so off. It's embarrassing. It only opened a little more than a million on Christmas Day, and then it fell off a bit, and then just kept falling after that. And yeah, oh, it's only made less than 5 million so far. I don't see it getting any further than that at the rates going. So, oh no. I don't even know why I made that thumbnail. I said, "Oh, an Oscar bait breakthrough." Well, that didn't work. Obviously, it didn't work. I think none of the Oscar bait movies worked. West Side Story didn't work out. Nightmare Alley didn't work out, and this didn't work out. So yeah, I was really foolish making that prediction, and yeah, I blame myself. I should have seen this coming because no one was really talking about it. But I thought it would be like a movie that just come out of nowhere, and that didn't happen. So yeah, I'm embarrassed with myself with that prediction. That might be one of the worst predictions. I think some of these are actually some of the worst predictions I've ever made when it comes to percentages, like how accurate I was with it. And this has to be one of the worst. And finally, last, certainly not least, Licorice Pizza. Now, my prediction, I was a little all over the place. I didn't know what to expect. I think I predicted like 3ish million, something like that, for the 2 day weekend. And like maybe like 10 to 20, maybe like 30 to, I don't know, 20 to 30 total. I forget. It won't reach that at all. Because on Christmas Day, it opened with like a little more than a million. And then fell off a bit. It had better legs than some other movies that came out at the same time. And its second weekend wasn't bad, but it's not great, and it's kind of doomed. But well, granted, again, I should have seen this coming. You know, adult movies, people haven't been seeing them at all the past year. And I already said in my prediction video, just because the movie does really well limited doesn't mean it's gonna have a big audience when it goes wide, and that's certainly the case here because they didn't really show up all that much. So yeah, yeah, I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed. So yeah, yeah, not much else to say here. But at least its Oscar chances are technically better than some of the other movies, so it has that going for it. But yeah, it's a shame because I thought the movie looked interesting. I thought the trailer grabbed me, but I just decided not. I don't know. I guess I didn't feel like watching it in a theater. I might watch it later on down the line, but yeah, this is pretty disappointing. And like the big flaw like I made was thinking, oh, Christmas is gonna be so lucrative. Every movie's gonna do so well. It's over the weekdays at least. It was gonna be booming, and that kind of happened, but not really. It only happened with two movies, No Way Home and Sing 2. Everything else died. Everything died a brutal death. So, yeah, that's it for December. That was it for 2021. That's how it ended. What a wild ending, right? I mean, like obviously no one expected No Way Home to be the monster that it was. Some people probably did. I thought it had the potential to do it, but it blew past all our expectations. And Sing 2, it didn't live up to my high expectations, but at least did fine. Everything else, just why even mention it? Why even bother? They all did terrible. So yeah, like it's just like it reminds me of September where Shang-Chi, it was like Shang-Chi and nothing else. And that's what happened here, except this time we had a strong second movie and then everything else was an afterthought. So, and I mean, for that's not really a good thing. Like, you need more than one movie to do well. You need at least 4, 5, or 6 doing well instead of one movie just doing amazing, and then the rest just either doing okay or awful. Like, you need more variety. You need more. You need more. Uh, I guess it needs to be evened out a little bit more instead of being overwhelmingly just one movie. But yeah, that's what happened with 2021. That's how it ended. Quite the wild ride 2021 was, wasn't it? All the highs, the lows. It was the ultimate roller coaster. So, yeah, that's it for that. So now we're on to 2022, which is already started, obviously. And yeah, that's gonna start with this weekend with like the 355. It was supposed to have a Morbius, but that didn't happen. So it's already looking like 2022 is going to be a bit of a chaotic ride. Hopefully, it's not as bad as 2020 or 2021, but I don't. It's best to keep our expectations low. That way, we won't be too disappointed. Okay, it's best we do that. But yeah, so anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage of all previous, recap videos I made throughout 2021. You can just see how the year evolved from being abysmal to like it's like a real peaks and valleys. Like, we started out the year so horribly, and then Godzilla vs Kong happened, and then things went down again, and then Quiet Place 2 things went up again, and then down, and then F9 came out, and then Black Widow, and then things went down again. And then Free Guy came out, and then Shang-Chi came out, things went down again, and then October happened. That was probably the best month when it comes to success, like the consistency of success. He had Venom 2, No Time to Die, Halloween Kills, Dune, all did well. So that was good. And then November fell off a bit, and then we went right back up with Spider-Man. So yeah, it was crazy. So if you want to relive all those moments, you can watch all those recap videos right now. So you can go do that. There's also box office predictions where I predict box office for movies. This weekend I do the 355. But if you want to watch any of the past 2021 prediction videos, yeah, I made for all the big movies that came out last year, and just see how much I screwed up, and you can just laugh at my failure. You can go right ahead. I'm cool with it. Like, I deserve to be laughed at for my failures at predictions. I deserve it. So, you want to go watch all those, go right ahead. Because soon that's going to be replaced with 2022. You'll still find it in the playlist tab, but it'll be removed from the homepage and will be replaced with 2022 very soon. So look at it while you can while it's on the homepage. And then there's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Yeah, I just did one about Morbius being moved away from January, which annoyed the hell out of me. Now people are starting to compare it to New Mutants, which seems very fair. But looking at 2021, I have to go back. If this loads. Hello? Phone. Okay, here we go. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Okay, looking at these. I think I've covered West Side Story a few times. I covered Nightmare National Champions once. Covered Spider-Man only twice. And that was like in the early days of canceled, so that was remarkable. Like, it stayed put in. This was always meant to be 2021, funny enough. So it never left a year. It just changed the month a few times. The Matrix Resurrections I talked about a few times. Kingsman I talked about way too much. Never talked about Sing 2. Never talked about American Underdog. Never talked about Journal for Jordan. I never talked about Licorice Pizza. So never talked about any of those. So yeah, if you want to watch any of the canceled videos where I covered all these movies, plus the recent one I did about Morbius, my 100th episode. Yep, I reached 100, whether I wanted to or not. It happened. So if you want to watch all those canceled episodes, all 100 of them, you go right ahead. Like, Go nuts. So go watch all those. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.